Welcome to the 2000 Decade Gladiator Round Tournament. This is, of course, a tournament for each decade that I'm having to find the best bodybuilder for each one. Lee Priest takes on Dennis James. Dennis the Menace James. This is an interesting combination. There's been so many different versions of both of these guys. I could have used this here comparison, which is an actual comparison. But I don't believe either guy is in their best shape, probably midway for each gentleman. And then, of course, Dennis James has this here version, which everything but the abs, I have to say, is much better and far superior as a bodybuilder. But this is where I draw the line, and some people look the other way. And I'm afraid I'm not looking the other way. This is the same situation as Phil Heath. Look at that stomach. It's atrocious. This is bodybuilding, people. You don't just deny the fact that the stomach is protruding out and just looks unhuman. But they sacrifice this to get bigger, and that's better. Not in my eyes, and not here at Marks Max Muscle. Lee Priest takes this one. But of course, this competition is far from over. Let's have a look at the front double biceps. Of course, this was never a strong pose for Dennis James. And his midsection got even worse later on in his career, in my opinion. Many of you might prefer the later on versions, but it was just never a good pose to begin with. Now, Lee Priest, on the other hand, he is like a statuesque, statue. Look at those biceps. This is a little bit earlier on in his career. I could have selected a different one, but I feel that this one was just so aesthetically pleasing. And you should see the different versions of Lee Priest. A best of Lee Priest would be in order, I believe. Except if I do best of Lee Priest, I think I would do different events, not just stick with the Olympia. A little tidbit for the future. Let's go to the next pose. Oh, Lee Priest gets the point in the front double bicep without a doubt. Next pose. And it looks like a shutout so far for Lee Priest. And remember, if he gets 5 points in a row, it's all over for Dennis James. And I am not hating on Dennis James. Both of these gentlemen are super duper and get a A+, in my opinion, as far as their personalities are concerned. Now, a lot of the time, I will like a bodybuilder or I won't like a bodybuilder because of their personalities. I mean, Robbie Robinson is my favorite bodybuilder of all time. There you go. Look at his personality. It's just one of the greatest gentlemen of all time. And these two guys are two cool cats, I'm here to tell you. Dennis James and Lee Priest. Imagine walking into a bar or an establishment with these two dudes hanging out with these two cats. Cool dudes. But as far as their physiques are concerned, I am not a fan of Dennis James' midsection. But he does pull this move off very well. Look at those legs and lats. Lee Priest is an amazing competitor in this front lat spread. Nearly unbeatable, takes this point for sure. Let's go to the next pose. And I am honestly starting to get worried for Dennis James. If he loses every pose in this, it would be very embarrassing. It seems that the girth of Lee's muscles are almost just as big as Dennis James, and he has a much smaller frame. And then it's all tied together with that little tiny classic Lee Priest waist. He is a mass monster with a aesthetic waist. An amazing creature and very hard to beat. Especially when you look at the big giant turtle stomach of Dennis James. And I don't mean to pick on the guy. I like Dennis James, like I said earlier. But this is a physique contest, not a personality contest. Guys, this is 4-0 for Lee Priest. If he gets one more point, this is all over. Let's have a look at the side triceps. You can stick a fork in this one. It's all over. It was a fairly close matchup, but a fairly close victory each time for Lee Priest. Just a dangerous opponent for Dennis James. You can see his muscles are almost just as big or even bigger in certain situations. And that waistline is just so much smaller that it's not even funny. Make your head spin. So, like I said, a very dangerous opponent for Mr. James. And it's sad. It's sad. I was expecting this to be one of the best of the first round matchups for the 2000 decade. And I do think it is worth to mention, just for the record, I believe Dennis James would have dominated in both back shots. But hey, if a man can win every one of the front shots, then it's fair. It's 5 points and an automatic win. Let's have a look at these brackets. Lee Priest swoops on ahead and makes for just a dream match. Jay Cutler versus Lee Priest. Wowzers. That's an awesome match. Makes me lightheaded. The next match in this tournament features Art Atwood versus Tony Freeman. Two big men. One to look forward to. I hope you enjoyed this one. Have a good day.